It's Justin. The behind-the-scenes live stream starts momentarily. But first, thanks to our wonderful sponsors. I don't know if you just saw the news, but average U.S. household debt just hit $152,000. That's mortgages, cars, cards, student loans. But the national debt just hit $37 trillion. It's all going up. Ask yourself this. When the system hiccups, who bails you out? It's not the Fed, not the politicians, and that's why I own gold. Gold doesn't need a CEO, doesn't need missed earnings. It doesn't freeze your account on a Friday at 4:59. While they print, gold just sits there doing what it's done for thousands of years. Store value. If you're done playing musical chairs with your savings, get something real in your hand. That's why you should try our good friends Kirk Elliott Precious Metals today. Goldwithjustin.com. Kirk and the team going to walk you through what they're doing, whether you're a seasoned pro when it comes to buying precious metals or you're just getting started. Call Kirk and the team today at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900, or go to goldwithjustin.com to find out how they can help you today. No pressure, just facts and a plan. That's goldwithjustin.com. Protect what's yours with gold. Goldwithjustin.com. Do it today. When the grocery shelves go empty, you're out of time. That's the truth. Disasters hit.
Live from high atop Monroe Center in downtown Grand Rapids, we're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on Wood Radio.
Man, oh man. What a wild stretch of weather we've been having, huh? It is like being on the face of the moon or Siberia or something like that out there right now. It is nasty, and there are folks working in it to keep everybody going. And we thank you. If you're doing that right now, hats off, especially as you listen. And if you're sitting with a cup of coffee next to a fire, cozy up, we appreciate you too. Thank you for being here with us. Lots to cover today and the stories you won't hear anywhere else. So let's get into it, folks. Here we go.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
And the stories that matter most, should be talking about around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. These are those stories. Powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Galloway and the team love to help you as interest rates continue to drop. We see the mortgage rates lowest several years, and we've talked to Dave about this recently. Whether you want to buy, refi, maybe it's a home equity line of credit, help get rid of some of that credit card debt you got stacking up. Dave and the team standing by wanting to help you. HHMLending.com.
Number one.
Well, he's headed to Davos today, and so is Gretchen Whitmer, but for two completely different reasons, I'm assuming. She's going to talk about the electric car and the future of it in the state where her and her policies literally put that thing to bed, so to speak. Now, Trump put the final nail in the coffin. That's what Whitmer will be doing in Switzerland, I'm sure, alongside the Soros folks and everyone else. But Trump, if you remember last time, he gave him an earful. I'm sure we can expect that he'll board the plane a little bit later on this afternoon, Air Force One, to head that way, as today kicks off day 2 of Trump 2.0. And boy, there is lots to discuss. And in fact, if you start thinking about, this is day 2 of year 2, or day 1 of year 2 anyway. Start thinking about all the things. I just saw a transportation secretary on the Duffy on the TV earlier this morning, and I thought to myself, you remember when Trump took over, we literally had airplanes falling out of the sky. We had these near misses and all this. Pothole Pete, who now wants a promotion, wants to run for president as a Democrat. I don't know if he's in Traverse City or Cancun right now. Who knows? But my point is, That's what we were dealing with. There's been so much change. I don't think we give them enough credit, folks. I really don't. Speaking of that mess on the roads, the 100-car pileup cleanup still continuing there as the road's now open. But, the drone footage, if you haven't seen it yet, we'll put it up in the stack today. But the drone footage is something else. The Zeeland area, and you and I are talking about it, but you know where else they're talking about it? All across the country right now. It made national headlines as we continue to see that cold and the snow barreling through. Over the next couple of days, we'll have those conversations about when we can see some possible relief. I'm looking at a balmy 6 right now. Single-digit temperatures. We're only going to see a high of, they say 16. Well, we'll see. That's coming up. And then terrorism in Minnesota as we continue the coverage of what happened over the weekend at that church in Minneapolis. It is a horrific story. If you've been following along like I have, I see this and I think to myself, where are we?
Protest over the federal immigration crackdown turned into a tense confrontation there. Demonstrators following federal agents into a church. Now the Justice Department says they will investigate. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has more.
Good morning. The Justice Department says it's investigating after video posted online by Black Lives Matter shows protesters entering that church in St. Paul, where they say one of the pastors is a local ICE official.
This is the saddest thing I've seen in a long time. But you don't have to go back too much further. 4 months. Is that what it's been? 4 months now. In August, a deranged leftist entered a church again. That time, killing people, children, shooting up that church as they had their services, their mass that morning. What is happening in Minneapolis and throughout the country? These folks on the left, last time I saw people coming into churches doing this type of thing, disrupting services. Again, these people are never the good guys.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche says the protest interrupting a church service is a potential violation of the FACE Act.
It absolutely is. I think you're going to see lots of civil rights violations coming out of this. I think you're going to see folks actually charged and locked up. These organizations, you have to understand, these people are involved with Black Lives Matter. This was a paid-for protest, and this type of thing is going to continue. This is not a protest. This is terrorism. Let's call it what it is. You cannot go into a private, I don't care whether it's an establishment, a home, no matter where it is, and disrupt what it is that those individuals are doing. You can't even go unless you're welcome in. Now, a church will welcome everyone in, but you cannot disrupt the services. You do that, you're immediately unwelcome. You are not welcome to disrupt service. You are welcome to come to Jesus any day, but not if you're going to get in the way between him and everyone else. So that's the situation here. It is terrorism. If you look up the definition of the word at its face value, this sort of activity meant to have a political impact, that is terrorism. Protesting, you never have the right to protest. What you have the right to do in the Constitution is address your grievances with the federal government. How do you do that? Or the state government? How do you do that? City, township, whatever. How do you do that? It is not by interrupting private businesses, private individuals, private homes, private organizations. Stand out on a corner with a sign. I think you could probably have an argument whether or not you're allowed to, raise your voice or have these come. Right now, there's a conversation in Grand Rapids, actually. They just passed this ordinance that says you can't use an amplification device outside of they'll call it hospitals, clinics, that sort of healthcare. Well, and I guess you could probably argue whether or not they're providing healthcare at the Planned Parenthood. But all this really stemming from they don't want people out with loudspeakers out in front of these establishments, if you want to call them that in any way either. But they don't want people out there. Essentially, they don't want them effectively doing what they've been doing. That's what they're trying to do. And the reason they're going to be able to get around it is because you don't have a right to use a speaker. You have a right to stand on public property and do whatever it is that you want to do, make your voice heard, but you don't have a right to use a speaker. You do not have a right to break into these churches, and you do not have a right to interrupt their services. Now, what is the FACE Act? Because people are going to be talking about this. It's a big question. Folks want to know, okay, what is the FACE Act, and how does this apply? And I'm not even halfway through this conversation on this story, because it takes an even bigger twist. It's Don Lemon, failed CNN mainstream media hack, as struggling for relevancy over the course of the last several years since he's been fired now, made his way in, coordinated with with these individuals. I was going to say protesters again. I got to fix the language. Again, it's terrorists. He was a part of this. And it's almost like he did a little drive-by. Like, let's say if he did a little drive-by with the guy that went in and shot up the job. No, it's just here documenting it. No, I'm just here documenting it. I'm just a journalist. He thinks he's going to get out of this. That's not the case. You know, there were people in the Capitol building back on January 6th. The precedent's already been set. They had cameras. They said they were just journalists, but they were along for the ride. They weren't just watching, right? Observing. They were participants, active in the whole thing. Now, I've seen some people say I believe it when I see it when it comes to these charges, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is a bridge you cannot cross. This is a red line. This is a straw that broke the camel's back. You cannot encourage this behavior, because if you encourage this, what happens next? Probably more of what we saw 4 months ago, God forbid. You have to put an end to this. And I know the president of the Justice Department will do so.
FACE Act was passed to stop this exact type of conduct. You are not allowed to stop people from worshiping, and you're not allowed to intimidate or impede them. And so the individuals that went in there and did that, and you could tell that they had a plan, you could tell that they had an agenda, and you cannot do that in this country.
Also from Minnesota.
Let's apply RICO to this, because you got to go in. Not only do I want to get these individuals who were there, not only do I want Don Lemon, but I also want to go follow the money and find out who funded the organization, who was in on this. I want every single individual. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, I think you can point back to folks like Mayor Frey and Governor Walz for encouraging these things, because that's what they're out there telling people to do. They're out there actively telling them to get out and do these things.
Family of this man removed from his house and detained by ICE wearing just...
That was a whole nother story. Did you see the guy they pulled out? Apparently, this guy's a citizen. And there's going to be a lot of people upset about this today. You know why? You know why they had to pull this guy out in his shorts with nothing else on? Because the failed governor and mayor of the city of Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota are sanctuary cities. They refuse to cooperate with ICE. They refuse to cooperate with federal authorities to bring child rapists, murderers, some of the worst to justice. That's what they're doing. And these crazy leftists, they're out there protesting, going into the churches, trying to get everyone upset, trying to... did you see the kids crying in the church? I mean, they're kids watching all of this. I can't even imagine. What's CNN say about it all? Oh, you want to hear that coming up. We'll get to it. But this is a red line. They've crossed the Rubicon. These folks need to be held accountable. If they aren't, we'll just see more of it, because that's the thing. What you tolerate, you get more of every single time. What you tolerate, you'll see more and more of happening every single time. If you decide, and you know this is your parent, you see the behaviors that you tolerate with your kid, or reward, you incentivize, you'll get more of it. But when you tell them no and you put it into it and you no longer incentivize it, it'll stop. But you have to make sure that you're doing that. For far too long, not only have we been tolerating it, we've been rewarding it. When I say we, that's the universal. I mean Democrats. I mean the left. I mean the system, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. You want to join the program, you can. I want to get into more of this, what Don Lemon is saying. A lot of these people being defiant. Let's see how defiant they are with those silver bracelets.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Yeah, still lots of snow and blow happening right now. A little sunshine peeking through the clouds downtown right now as we speak. Back with more and you after this on West Michigan Live.
Engaging. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Tuesday, January 20th. I'm Robin Poffman. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel loses in court again as a judge blocks the Whitmer administration from spending more than $600 million amid a lawsuit. House Speaker Republican Matt Hall saying, "I've said all along that we were going to win this easily." In other news, a Nigerian professor pleading guilty to stealing $1.4 million from a Grand Rapids preschool nonprofit. The woman is accused of conspiring to create nearly $500,000 in fake invoices, as well as fake daycare businesses, the money used for her personal travel to Hawaii, Nigeria, and Liberia. And the Detroit police commissioner plans to resign after a news investigation exposes his criminal history that apparently includes an allegation that he threatened to kill a police officer. Newly elected Detroit Police Commissioner Darius Morris telling multiple media outlets he plans to step down. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Burnip's
This is Dr.
Equipment,
Jesse
your
Mills,
local
host of the
trusted family-owned equipment dealer. With 8 convenient locations, 7 in Michigan and 1 in Indiana, there's sure to be a Burnip's location near you. From agricultural equipment to solutions for homeowners, landscapers.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are back at it. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. I see some friendly faces. Always a pleasure. Sorry, I'm sorry we weren't here with you yesterday, but I did try to make arrangements so that you could have little something to watch. Fantastic program from our good friend Maha Missy with a bit of an update on the Make America Healthy Again front. Panda says, is anyone not stealing money? That's a good point. And I would say if it's attached to government, this is a problem. Because the government spending, and this is the biggest issue with all of this, is that it's the risk reward issue. In other words, the reward is so high for this type of thing, and the risk so minimal. What do? You get slapped on the wrist, a little white collar crime, send you up the river for a couple of years, and that's it. Otherwise, you come out with millions. The risk reward is so high. The profile is just so crazy. No telling. They're going to do it every time. And especially the folks without a moral foundation, the godless. It really is sad. Gritter, good morning. Dina, good to see you. Thank you, Panda. Thank you, Mando. Thank you, Patriot Dean in the house. Lifer, appreciate you, my friend, as always, and your support. Thank you, folks, for being here with us. Hemi's in the house. Lots of folks jumping in with us over on the VIP over on Locals. You want to join? It's just $9 a month. And here's the deal. You can get a whole year plus a month free and a copy of my book. I'll sign it and send it to you. Good news. Hope and encouragement for trying times. On the way, if you join the VIP, go to justinbarclay.com/locals. Over on Rumble, SJ, thanks for the share. Julianne Manda, appreciate you. Go AF, L. Waldron. Folks hanging out over on the book as well. We got the bookers. We get Bonnie, Cindy, Sherry, two Sherrys, Jessica, Laura, Shirley, Troy, and so many others. Thanks, folks. Back at it, and a Tech Tuesday coming up. Data centers front and center again in that conversation. And about 10 minutes from now, we're going to get into that conversation. Data centers front and center again in the Tech Tuesday conversation. Our good friend, Trent Knibbie. A lot of people worried about the power, the electrical issues on the grid and whatnot, but there's a whole nother piece that people don't even think about, and that's the water. That conversation coming up at about 9:35. And tomorrow, one of the folks running for governor, Tom Leonard, has put his foot down. He's asking the folks there in the legislature to stop funding. Leonard calls on legislature to end data center subsidies, impose 1-year moratorium. In other words, so they can get a better handle on this. Tom Leonard running for governor as a Republican. He'll be with us again tomorrow as we get into those conversations. And like I said, it's a big one. We'll take a look also inside all of this action on Wall Street today. They were closed yesterday. We had Dow futures and whatnot down pretty heftily, probably on the Greenland stuff. I think all that's going to shake out really well, though. Down 700 right now. So we'll see what happens on open. Dow down 700, S&P down 100, NASDAQ down about 450. So that's the futures. Dan in Wyoming, let me grab a call. Fit one in here. Good morning. Welcome into West Michigan Live.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You there?
Yes, sir. You're live. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it seems like you were saying that Walz and the governor of Minnesota and the mayor in Minneapolis, they're just compliant to everything that's been going on, and they're inciting the people to do what they're doing. And then, you've got other places that they want to have sanctuary for people basically breaking the law and not being in our country legally.
Yeah, this is a combination of things. I think there are people very deranged on the left. We're talking Marxists. They want revolution. And there are people that are funding it, right? We got that billionaire class out there pushing for that. And then I think you get the useful idiots who Walz and Frey and the rest of them are trying to encourage to come in and join that fight. And these guys are complicit as well. And it is a mess. Right now, they have troops. They actually have troops, military, on standby. That was a story we got this weekend, ready to go into Minnesota if need be, because they're looking strongly. They're looking at that Insurrection Act. I don't know if they'll get what they need to push that through, but they need help there. This is why they're here in the first place, is because these local governments are failing. They just won't uphold the law. And so that's why the ICE has had to go in and do these raids. Normally, you know how this works normally? And there's a great clip out there of a chief or a sheriff or somebody I saw over the weekend that touched on this. It said, well, normally how this happens is we get somebody, we arrest them, we alert the federal authorities, and then they come in and do what they need to do. That's not what's happening in these places. They're thumbing their nose at the federal authority. And listen, again, we're not talking about, grandmas or children, and we got and we got people who are getting in contact with law enforcement for other reasons. You're talking about people that have. I just saw that Chris Hansen. Remember Chris Hansen from Dateline, To Catch a Predator, said they can't do a sting without catching illegals. Folks, that's who we're talking about. As Trump said, some of these folks that came here, they did not send their best. So that's the issue altogether. We gotta be able to get in and get these things done. And as long as they continue to dig in their feet and say they won't cooperate, we're going to continue to see those problems. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you, Dan in Wyoming, for the phone call. We'll get back with you. And Trent Knibbie coming up next. Tech Talk Tuesday, more data center details unveiled, and you won't want to miss the latest ban. I initially think I'm in support of this coming out of the legislature here in Michigan. Next, hang on, folks. All right, folks. Sorry about that. All right. Okay. Sorry about the and thank you for your patience. I said take care of something on the so news guy was telling me, Dave was saying, hey, just to let you know, CNBC says the Dow's down 700. And he must have just went in there because he missed me saying that. But it's down 745 right now. Before the open. The open just happened. Ding, 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 ding. Let's see what we see now. Oh, did it? They're still saying futures on this. We'll keep reloading it. So why is that? Good question. Let me break it down for you real quick. I want to bring Trent in, get his test done, and then I'll talk about that. Trent, good morning. How are you, man?
Morning, Justin. Doing good, loud and clear.
Look good. You sound good. Appreciate you. Loud and clear as always. Back with some of that data center talk. We'll do that coming up here in a second and a few other things. All right. So, oh yeah, the big band. Okay. Dow dropped 600. So it's already recovered 100. No, it didn't. It's down 750 now. That's where it was on the futures. So their headline is Dow dropped 600. Here's the, you're watching the live kind of ticker on this. Okay. So why are we seeing it drop right now? It's all psychology, but stock market, we've been talking about this for years. It's not real. Even when it's good, it's not real. I mean, it's just how people feel about things, which is still valuable, right? That's still, and you make money in it. Your retirement's tied to it. Lots of folks, I'll tell you what I've been watching. This is a whole nother story, probably for the after show. But silver, holy smokes. Did you see what happened with silver? I think it's up near $100 an ounce right now. Let's check it real quick. I think that's what I saw over the weekend. Yeah, 95.46. 95.46. I got some. I know Gritter's on here. Bought down at $30. So the silver. This is not the story necessarily the price as much it is the what do they call it, the gold ratio, right? So we're moving closer to that mark. Let me see if I can tell you exactly what it is. I'm getting off on a trail here, and I realize that. I've gone down a rabbit trail. Silver gold ratio. Let's see. Silver to gold ratio. All right. It is 49. Wow. 49.94. The silver to gold ratio is a comparison of the price of gold against the price of silver. Also effectively a measure of the number of silver ounces that it would require to buy a gold ounce of silver. So I'd need like 49.94. And by the way, this is, look at, when was the last time? Let's take it back, like all time, right? When was the last time it was this high? They don't have that. They don't have that. And I can't remember. It was up 113 in March. Yeah, March of 2020. And there's a long story. I'm sure some of these silver bugs can really give you the details on this. And I mean, I'm recent to the game, just paying attention to all of this. But these are ratios. These aren't prices. Yeah. 2008, I remember some of that, hearing it. And then there's 2011. So there's a reason why that. How many ounces of silver would it take to buy an ounce of gold? And so that's part of this interesting thing that's happening right now. What's happening with the stock market is tariffs. They're waiting. The Supreme Court decision on tariffs. Bessent has come out and said the Secretary Treasurer has come out and say, or the Treasury Secretary has come out and said he believes that the tariffs decision at the Supreme Court is going to hold. It's going to come back in Trump's favor. If that's the case, everything's good. If it doesn't, well, everything falls apart. At least it could. And that's what I think folks are keeping an eye on and what the market is pricing in right now. And what I think is probably going to happen, you also have Greenland, that's part of it. But I think what's probably going to happen, you can't know for sure. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think probably going to happen is they'll come back and they'll say, yes, everything's good with the tariffs. We're ruling in Trump's favor. Yes and no. In some ways, they may even get a mixed bag on that. And then the market will correct. But right now, they're taking advantage of this opportunity.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
All right, we just got that open at the stock market right now, and the Dow has dropped 700 points. It's recovered a little bit. We'll see. It goes back and forth. Part of this, they're saying, is the Greenland deal sparking some capital flight, fear of global trade wars. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, it is a possibility. It is a possibility, and it is a dangerous game that the president's playing, but one I think at least my trust in that situation, I believe he's able to win. And the other issue is the tariffs. We're still awaiting the Supreme Court decision on tariffs. Gut feeling is, I don't know if I should say this or not, but I think the gut feeling is Supreme Court comes back in favor of Trump, if not almost of the tariff situation. I think maybe it might be a little bit of a mixed bag, but that's all good. Otherwise, if they don't, see all these deals that they've got coming, all the money coming in, I don't know if you know this, but the deficit is lower than it's ever been right now. I mean, there are so many great green flags on the screen right now. I know there's some red flags too. Not going to deny that. I know folks will want to argue about a lot of that, right? But my point is there's so many great green flags. There's so many great green things in Greenland happening on day one of year 2 of Trump 2.0 in office. It was a year ago today he was getting sworn in. So there you have it. That's what I think is going to happen. It'll come back and then all of this. But you can't deny what happens is people, the stock market, you get all psychologically, get all freaked out, and then the money starts flying. And a lot of times it's designed to create a situation where they can come in and buy out a deal. And some of that might be happening right. This is why you got to be careful. I've been warning you about this, but the folks at guardingyournestegg.com, you want to make these decisions. You want to make them with a rational sort of game plan, a strategy that you've already put in place ahead of time. You don't have to make game time decisions on some of this stuff. That's the way emotionally you'll get pulled in so many different directions. So look, if you want to retire, doesn't matter. Today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road, guardingyournestegg.com, the folks at Talon Wealth, Mike Lesser, have been telling you about these guys for a while now. Reach out and ask them these questions because I'm sure you've got just as many questions as anyone else. You ought to get them answered. And from people who will take a take a completely different approach to your unique needs. Call them at 616-661-1000 or go online to guardingyournestegg.com. But do it today before it's too late. All right. That being said, there's a lot to talk about on the scene right now in the tech world. We've got a ban here in Michigan on something that I actually think might be a good idea. I'm not usually for bans altogether, like a pro-freedom guy, but I kind of like this idea. We talk about that, data centers and more.
Have something to say? Say it here.
Come on, people. Are they insane? This is America.
It's Free for All Friday. Talk to Justin now. 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay. Hack into the latest in
Losing
tech
your mind right now.
and how it affects you and your world. This is Tech Talk Tuesday on Wood Radio's West Michigan Live.
Hey, that was the wrong button. Speaking of a tech, that's the way we should start the program, not with a tech glitch, but with a human a pilot error there. Sorry about that. Welcome in, Trent. We appreciate you being here with us. How often do you see on the tech side of things those issues? That was just a human. That was a human error. That wasn't really a tech thing that went wrong. I bet that happens more often than not, huh?
Yeah, good morning, Justin. Yeah, we try to avoid the excuses human error, but yes, humans often make more errors than technology. That's why a reboot usually fixes it.
Did you try turning it off and turning it back on? That's the whole thing, right? So yeah, lots to talk about today. And I want to start because it's been at the top of the conversation. Yeah, there's a ban. I want to get into that I think you're going to like, especially as a parent. But there's a whole nother really piece of this data center conversation. President Trump last week, we talked about, he came out, and one of the hurdles they're trying to clear in order to make this more palatable for folks is we know we need data centers to be competitive against China, but we also may not want them in our own backyard, and there's reasons for that. Power, the infrastructure, and how the grid keeps up with all of it. That's a big piece of it, right? But another piece of this conversation is water. And how the water, it's specifically in Michigan, if you look at what we're watching and how they want to proceed here, whether our water supply can hold up and deal with what they're going to require to run those things. The Detroit News has a story about this, a domino effect, how data centers could affect Michigan's water supply. This is another reason, the environmental and other issues that folks are really... Now they're really concerned about these things, Trent.
Yeah, Justin, the biggest thing about this, the water consumption, people don't think of computers consuming water, right? And they don't. Computers consume electricity. But when you have a data center of these sizes, you have mass amounts of heat that you have to expel. And the most common way, the most cost-effective way to date to cool these massive data centers is by putting massive evaporative cooling towers up. And these are big towers up in the air. They're a physical structure. They spray water on themselves to cool themselves with the air to naturally cool the internal structure which has the cooling system in there. And they waste, I guess you could call recycle into the atmosphere, mass amounts of water. And they require this as the cheapest way to do this. And it's so interesting, Justin, because every summer when it gets really hot and humid, the news loves to run stories about how corn is putting mass amounts of humidity into the air and making it just unbearable for us. I don't hear too much news talking about data centers and cooling towers and how much, in 10 or 20 years with the proposed new data centers they have all over, what that impact is going to be on us. And the bigger story is nature can absorb and handle a lot of things probably better than we realize. But to get that raw amount of water out of the ground or out of Lake Michigan, there's infrastructure. If it's out of the ground, there's local well issues. And we people complaining about farmers who take a little bit of water out of the ground and they say their well runs dry. Can you imagine a data center pulling water out of the ground, hundreds of thousands, millions of gallons a day of water consumption? Or if that's got to be piped out of Lake Michigan, the physical infrastructure to do that, the treatment of that water, it's a massive part of that equation that we definitely need to understand before we go forward with these projects in our backyards.
Well, and you make a great point. Well, that's why they're so focused. People ask, why Michigan? Why do they want to be here? What's the point here? And I think maybe that might be one of the reasons, because of our great resources, particularly when it comes to water. Tom Leonard, who's a candidate for governor here in Michigan as a Republican, calling now. We'll have him on the program tomorrow at 9:35. But calling now on the Michigan legislature to end data center subsidies and wants a 1-year moratorium. He says Republican gubernatorial candidate Tom Leonard today calling on the Michigan legislature to immediately pass this legislation, repealing all state subsidies and preferential treatment for data centers, and to enact a 1-year moratorium on the siting of the new data centers across the entire state of Michigan. Leonard saying the pause is necessary to protect ratepayers, preserve local control, and give lawmakers time to establish clear, transparent rules that put Michigan families and communities first. Now, again, my biggest issue on this, I think it's the local control. If you all get together in your township or wherever you are and you decide this is what you want to do, and by the way, if that's done in a very transparent way, which you find being very rare these days, then I think you can have whatever you want in your own backyard. But if they go around like they've tried to do with so many other ways, make it very sort of done behind closed doors and smoke-filled rooms, or they've seeded that out to like the state government and some board somewhere that Whitmer's put together to make that decision, and you don't get control over what's happening in your own backyard, that's a problem.
Yeah, Justin, this is obviously the talk of the town, literally, because these things are trying to be done behind closed doors, as you mentioned. And there are hundreds of ways that you can cool a data center. There are other ways of doing this. They can provide their own power. They could provide power back to the grid to make the grid more stable with an agreement that, hey, they'll shut down a percentage of their equipment if there is a grid down or power outage. Justin, this is not all doom and gloom. You could have data centers that are ran in a way that's helpful to the community. Now, that might cost them more and they might not make as much, but the community could demand that and expect that, just like any other business in the community. Usually those businesses are net positive, not a massive increase of power rates, water rates, and the other harm to the local area when these massive data centers come in. So yes, we need transparency. Not all data centers have to be power sucking, water sucking, evil things. It can be done in a good way too, if the people are involved and it's done responsibly.
Yeah, let's switch gears if we can now into this story, which I kind of, again, this is another one of those Michigan legislature got involved. The House approving a cell phone ban for schools. And I'm not normally a ban kind of guy, but I kind of like this idea. I think kids, look, I want them to be familiar with technology, but I also think that technology can get in the way. Particularly, I've seen, we got the same people designing casinos, designing apps and things on our phone and the phone itself. I've seen what it can do to kids and pull their attention span, their awareness, and it's not great. In fact, there's a reason why Steve Jobs wouldn't give his kids an iPad. I keep coming back to that when I look at devices, particularly with my kids. In some places, we've heard that these schools have already put these bans in place, and the kids actually like them. What do parents think about this too? Just your reaction to this as a tech guy.
This is long overdue. Cell phones have been wreaking havoc in schools, and really what the tipping point here is, and to your point, many schools have taken the proper responsibility to limit, ban whatever cell phones in a classroom learning setting. So not necessarily like throughout the school day entirely. If they need to call a parent at a lunch hour or something, there's ways to do that. But during the learning time frame, they've banned them. And I think the biggest factor that's pushing this cell phone ban, and you'll see this more in other countries that are starting to ban social media and things, AI and inappropriate things that kids, teenagers are doing has reached a new level, unleashed a new level of activity that is being unleashed on children in a terrible way. And it's ruining them, it's destroying them. And it's not just children, Justin, it's adults. And so there's, the 30-minute a day phone challenge going around. That's a very adult thing. And it's changing people's lives. Unplugging, turning off, having a normal life is resetting our brains. And so, yes, it's very good, Justin, that we have this cell phone ban during learning hours for sure. I hope they can enforce that.
Speaking of bans, in the UK right now, they want to ban anyone under 16 on social media. Another story that's getting some traction. I don't have a problem with that. Our kids are not going to be on social media until they're like 30. If that, I just don't see any. I really don't see any positive reaction for it. Here's one thing I'm sure we'll see reaction for. AI-powered RoboCops. They were just talking about RoboCop this morning on the program. Look at this. They got these Chinese AI-powered RoboCops that are performing traffic duties in Chinese cities. Now, I know some Americans might be tempted to run these things over. Not you, Trent. I know. It's not you. But what a story. These robots, the real story is there were lots of them at CES, at the Consumer Electronic Show out in Las Vegas this year. And I saw something this weekend that said, at the end of the day, Musk, who's famous for making Teslas the car, at some point they will never remember that he actually made cars because Tesla is in such a big robot business right now. I think it's called Optimus, the one they're working on right now. And he says he wants to get 1 billion of them out. He wants everybody to have a robot or two. Can you imagine? I don't know if I'm ready for a robot in my house.
Yeah, Justin, there's a lot of people that are a little uncomfortable when they get pulled over by a police officer, and they might be a little frustrated or say something they wish they didn't, or some people want body cams, some people don't. These new kind of robo police are scary because you got to remember everything that they're saying, everything you're saying is being recorded live on video with AI being fed into the central system. So if they look at you and you look at it wrong and they think you're being disrespectful or if you've disobeyed something, you're done. There's no mercy by the RoboCops. They're not going to give you a warning.
The threat has been eliminated. I don't know if I like the language the way you just said that, Trent. You're done. But it is true. And that's why I think lots of folks are very wary of that. Anyway, you want to know more? You got questions that maybe we don't have time to get to today. Trent would love to answer for them. AffordableEyeStore.com, or you could go to Affordable Eye Store, Lake Mission Drive in Standale, and ask those questions from a consumer level. Maybe questions about your device at home. Or maybe you've got an organization or a business. He's been helping folks get secure and stay that way with Grand River Tech, grandrivertech.com. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks, Justin. Have a great day.
You too. God bless. Hey, we're still awaiting that decision. The Supreme Court could come any moment, may even come after the show, but we'll have it for you whenever it does come down. So stick with us here. We've got more on the way on West Michigan Live.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Tuesday, January 20th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. He's stepping down. A Detroit police commissioner plans to call it quits after a news investigation exposes his criminal history that includes an allegation he threatened to kill a police officer. Newly elected Detroit Police Commissioner Darius Morris telling multiple media outlets he plans to resign from the board. The resignation is simple, he tells the Detroit Free Press. The board, they don't need this type of publicity at the start of the term. I have to consider them as well. In other news, a Nigerian professor pleading guilty to stealing $1.4 million from a Grand Rapids preschool nonprofit. The woman is accused of conspiring to create nearly $500,000 in fake invoices and fake daycare businesses, but the money apparently used for her personal travel to Liberia, Nigeria, and Hawaii. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
This weekend, Grand Rapids Home Show.
All right, folks. Thank you. We've already seen, and we'll talk about this in the air, but we've already seen this sort of fluctuation happening right now in the market. It was 700. It was down 700 on the Dow. And I think then we got down as far as almost the low sixes. We're 630 right now. I think you're going to see that back and forth this morning. This is Sell America. U.S. dollar treasury prices sinking. Gold spikes as Globe flees U.S. assets. You see that headline on CNBC as well. I'm not as bearish on that. I don't hold that same view. I do think the metal prices are really interesting. Had a great conversation. Maybe we can have some of that on the after show. Stand by. Anything else that I think we need to make sure that we get? All right. Hang on one second. Let me get back in just a moment. Back to it. Oh, yeah. Did you see that? Did you see? I know we've been talking about it, or they've been talking about it in the Midwesterner, but maybe I should do this. This nonprofit story from the Midwesterner. This Nigerian princess Stealing $1.5 million from Grand Rapids. Nonprofit. All right, here we go. Back on the air, folks. Stand by. 30 seconds left here. Yeah, Jason, they're just they got to keep people fired up. Here we go.
Online health questions required.
Set Wood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com.
That's autolaw.com.
Still got lots of blowing and snowing out there. No more sun. Well, it's trying to, but let's see if that lifts a little bit later on. We know tomorrow we got another round headed again of the cold and the snow, and of course, right in time for the drive into work tomorrow. So stay with us for all the latest on the weather and traffic. Of course, the headlines here, News Radio with 1300 and 106.9 FM 9. Well, it's warming up. It was 6 when we started. We're going to get up to 16 today, 15, something like that. Get the Speedo out. Hey, the story we're waiting on right now from the Supreme Court is the latest on the announcement with the tariffs decision. We may have that coming up in just moments. You're watching markets react to that as well. GuardingYourNestEgg.com. Talon Wealth and the folks wanting to make sure that you are ready for retirement, no matter whether it's today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road. 616-661-1000 is the number. You can reach out to Mike Lester and the team at Talon Wealth to help get you back on track and make sure that you're able to sleep at night. You're not feeling a little nauseous on that roller coaster ride. Last but not least, you've heard it a couple of times this morning in the headlines that we've given you, but the Nigerian professor, the Nigerian princess, who has stolen $1.5 million from the Grand Rapids preschool nonprofit, is making news and headlines all across the country right now for obvious reasons. She used that money for personal travel to Hawaii, Nigeria, and Liberia. Nkezi Eze, I probably did not say that right, founder and CEO of the Early Learning Neighborhood Collaborative, pleaded guilty last week to wire fraud, tax evasion, and a scheme that forced the nonprofit to shut down after a dozen years, preparing about 8,000 preschoolers for kindergarten in Kent County, Battle Creek, and Kalamazoo, according to Wood TV and the folks at the Midwesterner. So there you go. There's another one of those stories of the money just being ripped off. Is anyone not stealing money? That's probably the better question. All right, back with you tomorrow. The Glenn Beck program is rolling up next, but stick with us if you're online, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube. Oh, yeah, and the podcast, the iHeartRadio app, live and archived. In the meantime, we're wishing you the best, folks. Make it a great one. God bless.
Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, our glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
From the retirement experts at Matson Financial Studio.
I wanted to see the Northern Lights last night. Somebody asked in the chat here, did you see the Northern Lights last night? I wanted to see them. Unfortunately, I did not see them. I couldn't see anything when I went. I was around at like 10:30 and had to put gas in the car and, just check out the roads. I want to see what it was going to look like for today. I basically hibernated yesterday. It felt so good. I did. I just hibernated. I didn't do much of anything. And we had so much cloud cover and snow and everything else. Couldn't see anything from the Northern Lights. Heard it was going to be a really spectacular show, but did not get to see. All right, folks, stand by. Let me get the show rolling, the after show, the show after the show, and then we'll get all lots to discuss, I'm sure. Stand by. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. To the after show, the show after the show. Yeah, never a dull moment, never enough time to talk about it all, but we try and do our best. In fact, we still got big stories. The one out of Minnesota, I got story after story and video. I call it terrorism. Thugs disrupt the Minnesota church service. You haven't seen some of the video. The CNN response, Don Lemon chirping back, and he got into a little bit of a fight with Nicki Minaj, which I couldn't. Well, she doesn't say it the way I would. The language is a little off, but I can't imagine ever thinking to myself, I'm siding with Nicki Minaj on anything, and yet here we are, just blown away. Whitmer in Davos, in Switzerland, the World Economic Forum, along with the president this week. We'll talk about that. Paychecks getting fatter, yours too. That's some good news, and some news that I think you might want to hear. Ahead of the address to Parliament Speaker Johnson there with Nigel Farage sitting down in the UK and more. So where do you want us, which place feels best? Oh, did you know they've already arrested this is probably why they're so upset in Minnesota. They've already arrested over 3,000. This is why they're so mad at ICE right now. And who are those people? Well, it's the worst of the worst. I told you earlier. I mean, it is. This is a laundry list of the who's who of the thugs, the rapists, I mean, you talk about who's been arrested. It is, like I said, it's a list of no wonder they want these people out roaming the streets. And they don't want you talking about it. They don't. They don't want you to know who's who. These people are insane. Just to prove how insane they are. By the way, we've got people who are very sane who know exactly what they're doing that are funding all of this because they want a revolution, right? And then we've got people because, Walls and Frey and all the media, weird personalities like Don Lemon, the rest of them are out there stoking these people. Their goal is to push somebody like this over the edge to do something crazy. Listen to this woman and her farewell message to her mom.
This is a message from my mom. If I am executed by ICE officers today, it will not be because of anything that I did.
What? Wait, what? What are you talking about? Where does this even come from? How can anyone in their right mind, and maybe that's the actual operative question, how can anyone in their right mind believe that they're going to be executed by ICE officers today? By anyone. For any reason. Unless they plan to do something that would put them in that position, which is a whole nother scenario. But listen to what she says.
I want you to know a couple things. First,
I'm crazy.
I don't carry weapons on me. Second, I won't be holding any signs.
The woman with the car had a weapon. It was the car.
There will be no indication from me that I'm a violent person or a threat to anyone. I do not plan on following anyone. I do not plan on screaming or shouting or even speaking to anyone. I am there to observe and document. This is a historical moment for me in my lifetime, for the state of Minnesota. And
where's there? Where are you going? And if you feel like maybe those things are possible, why would you go?
And no matter what the outcome is, I believe it deserves to be documented. I believe it is my responsibility and my right to document it. Firsthand, as an observer, show what is happening in my city. I believe in the freedom and the foundations of America and the United States Constitution. I also believe in change and progress.
No, you've been indoctrinated. Where you're going, it sounds like, I don't know, is not an actual ICE operation. You're going to a protest, and let's call it what it is. It's not really a protest, probably more like a organized event. Terrorism. I mean, I start calling what it is domestic terrorism. When you have people, and in Minneapolis where they were, laying down little ice, water on the ground so it would freeze and cause these agents to have a problem coming in and out so they couldn't do their operations at facilities, that's illegal. That's terrorism. That is not a protest. You have a right to address grievances, right, with your government. It says nothing about do you have a right to, get in between the federal investigation and obstruct and such thing. That's just insane.
If I am executed today by ICE officers, it will not be because of anything that I did. I'm saying this because I need you to understand.
This kind of sounds like this almost sounds like a confession, doesn't it?
What you're supporting and what you're fighting against.
Wait a minute. Is she making this video for her mom who supports ICE? Now we're getting down to, is this some sort of like emotional, psychological, narcissistic like play on her mom's emotions so that she won't support ICE? Is that what we're watching here?
And possibly reconsider.
Yeah. That's now we get it. Now we get it. You know what this sounds like to me, Mom? If I am punished, if I'm spanked for climbing up on the top of the cabinet to get the cookies out of the cookie jar, I just want you to know it was not because of anything that I did, because I wanted a cookie and I have a right to I am a right to this cookie. Sounds like a toddler. These people do not sound like rational individuals. They just don't. And it's largely because they're not. They're not. So where are the arrests? This is a great question. Not talking about ICE arrests. We're talking about, well, Benny Johnson asked Harmeet Dillon, who talked about this at the DOJ, talked about specifically some of the other arrests that you keep asking about that I wonder about as well. Where are some of the, now we've seen some, but where are the bigger ones, the ones that you and I want to see more?
I know people are frustrated. Where are the arrests, et cetera? Let me explain that for you and your team, Benny, because state prosecutors could have arrested some of these people yesterday. They don't have some of the same hurdles that we do in the DOJ. When DOJ, we gather our facts, we go to a federal judge has to issue the search warrants. We all know what the federal judges are doing right now in Minnesota. We will pursue charges in this case. I see various crimes that have occurred. Exactly what they are, I'm not going to flag, but the FACE Act has been mentioned as one of the predicates there. I know people are frustrated. Where are the arrests, et cetera?
We want to see them. I'm with you. And let me tell you, because in this situation, if we don't, this will only encourage this whole thing with the church and whatnot. It will only encourage people to get more bold. It'll only encourage people to do crazier things. And those people who are truly off their rockers, like that woman you just watched who was in Minnesota making the video for her mom. Mom. I don't mean I have to laugh, because it's sort of like, if you don't laugh, you cry. You can either do, either one. But I also know that these people are not well. And I'm seriously, I just have a heart to pray for them, because I think they're so deceived. They are so Think about this.
And get this, many on the left, including in the legacy media mob, are now comparing Border Patrol Chief, Greg Bovino to a Nazi. Nothing new. That's their favorite go-to. Why? Because he's walking around outside in the freezing cold in Minnesota wearing a long overcoat. Here to respond, U.S. Border Patrol Sector Chief Greg Bovino.
They don't like the uniform. I tell you what it is. It's not the fascism that they have a problem with. They love fascism as long as it works out in their favor. You notice they went into a church to shut people up. They wanted to stop them from worshiping. They loved fascism when it was all about censoring people on the right during COVID. They loved it. They wanted us to be shut down. They absolutely celebrated when Charlie Kirk was murdered. They wanted him to be silenced. Some of these people. They don't mind that, the authoritarianism. They mind the authority, the actual, legit, true, and real authority. That's what they have a problem with. They have a problem with the truth. The truth, capital T. And the structure of authority. That's what they have a problem with. Why they hate this guy? They hate his uniform. They hate his guts. They hate the fact he's wearing that coat.
So you're trying to stay warm, 0-degree weather, and that's their best response to you?
Sean, good evening, and thanks for having me. Exactly. That trench coat has been around with the Border Patrol since 1924, 101 years. Definitely one of my most warm uniform items.
It's kind of a nice coat, actually. It looks really nice
to me. And, they always go to that Nazi, that Gestapo symbolism when they have nothing else left.
And get this, many on the left.
It is. It's always Nazi. But see, that's the thing. It's same as racist and everything else. And the reason I think this is a problem is because I said it when we were talking about racist. I said, they're going to use that word so much that we won't be able to actually recognize who's racist or what's racist, what racism is. We won't be able to recognize any of the truth because they have so... I don't mean to use this in the foul language, but bastardized is really the word that really fits here, the English language. They have completely mucked it up. And they've done it on purpose. They don't want you to know what the meaning of anything is. They don't want you to know what the truth is. They want all of that to be fluid, just like gender, just like everything else. That's the easier way to be able to control you. They can do that in that situation. Oh, supposedly there's supposed to be, I've heard this too. Yeah, there's going to be some big walkout today. And I don't know. They said today's the day. They're going to do it around 3 p.m. I don't know the full story, and I don't know who's walking out. And honestly, if they do, good riddance. These are actors and actresses.
Helen, I'm not going to take it anymore.
On January 20th, we are walking out to free America.
And walking in to remove the regime.
How about the fact I don't recognize any of these people? Are they supposed to be famous or no?
We're walking out of work, walking out of school.
We're walking out of anywhere and everywhere.
Because it's past time that we stop
Good, walk out of work. That way we know who you are and we can fire you.
cooperating with fascism.
Starting at 2 p.m.
That woman clearly has issues. She's stuck in the 60s.
local time, we'll start a wave of walkouts across the nation.
Send a clear message that we demand freedom from this
guy's living in his mom's basement. Look, I could see that. I could spot that wood paneling anywhere, sir.
hostile and lawless takeover of our country.
30 years old, living in his mom's basement.
Then
you gotta walk out of your mom. How about you walk out of your mom's basement and get a job, buddy? How about you walk out? I'm just saying. Maybe you walk out, stop playing video games, you get a girlfriend, you'd be happier. I'm just saying. I just, this stuff is so stupid to me. If any of these people had a real life, they wouldn't have time for any of this nonsense. That's the truth. And you know what? It's not all their fault. They've been screwed over. The system has screwed them over. Democrats largely, I think globalist elitists, the same people who they lick the boots of. Yeah, I know they use that with the right a lot, but it's true. I mean, they lick the boots of George Soros and the rest of these people who've largely set them up in a system to fail. I mean, these kids can't afford anything. They can't afford a house. They can't afford, they've been saddled with debt. The school that they've told to go to that completely mucked their brains up. If you think about it, what did they do? Brainwashed them, sent them out and said, yeah, good luck now. Get a job with your cisgender studies degree or whatever the heck it is. Underwater basket weaving, it might as well be for all we know. But the point is, they've been screwed over. These people are victims. Now, I'm not going to treat them without any accountability or responsibility, but at the end of the day, yeah, they've been screwed over by the system. But the truth is, and it remains, walk out of your parents' basement and get a job, find a girlfriend, take her on a date, get married, have kids. You're going to be happy. That's life. You're going to be happy. People have gotten away from so much of this because they've been indoctrinated. Maybe he can't find a girlfriend because all the girls he wants to date think he's evil because he's a white male. I don't know. Maybe he thinks he's evil. Maybe they think they're evil because they're white and they're privileged. I don't know.
We'll start walking in.
Congress has the power to remove.
Now, here's the other part. This one, by the way, did you miss this? This crazy witch is out here playing with tarot cards. Do you see this down here? Should have known. Septum ring theory. Should have known. Hang on. Let me make it bigger for you. There is something about that septum ring that makes it easy for them to be pulled around by the nose and believe almost just about anything. There she is. Got her tarot cards. We should have known.
Of a tyrant from office. It's not an
option. Crystal hanging here.
It's their sworn duty.
So at 3 p.m., we'll start walking in to local congressional offices to demand impeachment and removal.
We are peacefully demanding that our representatives file their own articles of impeachment
against Trump and senior Trump officials.
And why don't you get your tarot cards to tell you what to do? Maybe they'll tell you this is not a good idea.
And we are demanding that they force.
This lady's a commie. I don't know. Am I supposed to know who this is? She looks like one of those, 60s retreads. She's, stuck in that era. Peace, love. And of course, she's not happy. She's not happy at all.
A vote.
Donald Trump has committed tyranny and obstruction of justice.
And turning ICE into a paramilitary force is an act of treason.
On January 20th, we are telling our congressional officials that it is their duty right now to impeach, convict, and remove.
I just got it. I don't think that guy wants a girlfriend. I think I was off.
Impeach, convict, and remove.
Impeach, convict, and remove.
Post your plans to join the walkout, walk-in.
Using the hashtags #FreeAmerica.
Again, do you realize, when you get videos like this where they put this stuff together, this is scripted, somebody paid for it, there's lots of money that goes to producing this.
And remove the regime.
And document your visits on the 20th with those hashtags so that we can multiply the movement.
Find your local congressional office, sign up and receive articles of impeachment, and find all the information you need at removetheregime.com.
You know what we ought to do? We ought to remove the people behind all of this nonsense. Send them packing. Seize the money. Send them packing. Look, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take us before we actually move on these people. They're the reason we continue to see these issues. Now, we know exactly who they are. They know who they are. They can go get them immediately if they need to.
We'll see you on January 20th.
We'll see you on January 20th.
We'll see you on January 20th.
Thank you for standing up for our democracy.
We can all do this. It's time.
Look at that. Unbelievable. Ma'am, it's past time. I don't know what to tell you, folks. You see stuff like this and you just go, wow. Don Lemon and Nicki Minaj are going after. Speaking of, I see some of you people saying freaks in the chat. I'm not going to go that far, but what I will say this is Don Lemon is getting it from Nicki Minaj. This is what she posted on social media. I'm not going to read it, but she called him some expletives. Disgusting. She says, how dare you? I want that thug in jail. He would never do that to any other religion. Lock him up. I do think that's true. I do think Don Lemon would never walk into a mosque and interrupt at a mosque. It just would never happen. There's a reason why they always target Christians, folks, in churches. There's a reason for that. I mean, it's no doubt. The same reason we got that lady ripping down the tarot cards, ripping through them. You know why. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me anyway what's really going on here. It's the whole thing. The evil cannot stand. They cannot stand. They really can't. They can't stand when things like this are called out. They can't stand when there's truth, logic, and common sense coming their way. They absolutely cannot stand it. They can't stand for you to stand and speak out. Can't stand for you to stand up and say no more. I mean, Don Lemon, this is what Nicki Minaj is talking about, by the way. And again, like I said, I can't believe that. And actually, here I am again. You know, Nicki Minaj. Well, he's calling her a bigot, talking about her family. I don't know. He mentioned some weird things, but you know what? He doubled down. I've got to tell you, I don't know about this language in this. There's a video that he did with this woman, this crazy lefty. Well, I don't know how. I think they decided that she's like the Joe Rogan of the left, but she couldn't be any more annoying, actually, than the people that were in that last video. But that's essentially what we're talking about. That's how annoying they all are. This is him as a guest on that program, and essentially saying that people in that church that, again, he went into, willingly participated in that whole thing. I think this type of video is going to end him. He's going to land in jail if he's not careful. But he doubled down in it. He's saying that people in that church were white supremacists. The picture I kept coming back to with, and I'll find it so you can see it with the kids. There's like an Asian woman, another man, undetermined race or ethnicity, sitting, and then in the pew, and the kids. They're white supremacists. Listen to this.
I think these MAGA men, they have like a hive mind. None of them are unique. None of them are the alphas they think they are. They just all take.
You're telling me that people on the left are so diverse? They all have different. No, the one thing they don't have on the left, madam, is any diversity of thought. There's no diversity of thought. On the right, it's like herding cats. On the left, they're on lockstep. You could tell them to walk off the cliff and the lemmings and go right along with you.
Orders every day. What's Elon saying?
I mean, they're willing to cut their you-know-what off for just to be able to fit in.
What's Trump saying? And they have to bend and mold. And you are a prize for them, an independent, gay, Black, happy, successful man.
Well,
and this is an attempt.
I don't know if he's successful. I think he's failed at CNN. I don't know what he's doing now. But in fact, he failed. Remember, he's going to do that thing with X. And in his first interview, he basically ended that.
Attempt to intimidate and beat you down.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree with that. And I didn't hear the first part, but I think that there is obviously there's racism in it. The whole point of it is that they're detaining people on the streets because of.
It's racist for us to try to arrest and ICE to try to arrest rapists. It's racist for us to try and take murderers off this. That's racist. By the way, you know what else I saw? ICE put out a report of all the white people they've arrested, and it is stunning.
Accents in the color of their skin, and they're also targeting people of color and Black people as well as brown people. So there is a certain degree of racism there, and there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from.
I'm not gonna question his Christianity. It just doesn't sound like he's read the whole Bible. You know
a supremacy, a white supremacy, and they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom.
Not true. We wanted religious freedom, but that's not why we left England, because they wouldn't let you have your own Bible. They were killing these people, and on the way here, they made a covenant with God. There's so many reasons. These people are completely lying. I think they do it on purpose. I think they deceive people on purpose. Congress actually put money towards and printed Bibles. The Congress of the United States, early on. Because they realized, they knew that the country wouldn't work. They knew that our form of government wouldn't work without people being not just informed, because you must be informed, but you must be morally sound. Your nation cannot operate. This system that we have right now cannot operate unless the people are morally sound. We can't. So, yes, tell us more about how we're racist, Don.
It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male.
That's not true. That's why. But guess what? We've allowed the Muslims to come here, and a lot of them are trying to overtake with Sharia law in some cases. If we didn't allow this religious freedom, why are they allowed to do it, Don? Why didn't you walk into a mosque? Oh, no answer for
pretty
that.
much.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And,
Walking into the church is an intimidation tactic. Holding you accountable is responsibility.
Said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning,
the biggest clowns there.
You and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
It's because he's a gay black man, not because he was in the church disrupting. He went to them. He's all of a sudden the victim. This is how they work in their demented minds on the left. He's the perpetrator. He's the attacker. He's the one responsible. And now all of a sudden, he's a victim.
And you have a platform and you're the biggest name. Of course, you're going to be the person that they single out and they're going to make the headline because it plays to their base. And their base is full of racist, bigoted homophobes.
All of this, a poor attempt. And yet it is. It's a poor attempt. It's a poor attempt to try to get around the find out that's coming his way. Because the find out's coming swiftly, by the way. This is the picture I kept seeing. This little child being comforted by the father. I don't know the ethnicity of the child or the father, but that certainly looks like an Asian woman sitting next to them. Probably the mother of the child. Maybe a sister. I don't know. But this is what happened in that church. These people are who Don Lemon are calling white extremists, supremacists, whatever. This is who he's talking about. Unbelievable. Again, I will throw a party when these people are charged and thrown in jail. I want to see it happen. It has to happen. Vengeance is ultimately the Lord's, but it is our duty to make sure that the laws are upheld, because if we don't, then it's not justice for the innocent, is it? How many more times do we have to see something like this happen until something really, really bad takes place? CNN now actively running cover for the leftist mob that terrorized the church. And again, don't forget, 4 months previous to all this, some leftist wacko went into a Catholic church in Minneapolis and shot it up. These people are absolutely tone deaf.
The activists on the street right now, they feel a kind of helplessness, right? That's how you end up bullying your way into a church. And you've been in that chair. You've been the person who was the activist and felt like lawmakers weren't doing enough. Do you understand their frustration?
Of course.
The activists on the street right now, they feel
unbelievable. So that they were forced to do this. They're forced because they're just, they're not seeing enough done at the federal level. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. Spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security says there will be mugshots. You're going to see arrests here. It will be spectacular. I tell you that I will celebrate. because it needs to happen.
Of justice, but I will say that we are working swiftly. We think the American people will have answers soon, and there will be justice, and there will be mugshots. I mean, what the American people saw with these images are shocking. It is ICE hysteria on full display, and I do think it's a window into the souls of a lot of these agitators, that there's a lot of hatred there, when in reality, the men and women on the ground at ICE are risking their own lives to remove murders, to remove rapists. Just this morning, we arrested multiple child rapists off of the streets of Minneapolis. This is major public safety threats that our men and
That's a headline they don't want you to know about, by the way.
women on the ground are not just enforcing the rule of law, but they're risking their own lives to remove.
Yeah, and we saw there was a clip that went pretty viral.
Of justice, but I will say that we are.
So there's a guy who may see, oh, by the way, he's going to cuss, so I got to only play some of this. Look at the hat on he's got. He's got the F Trump hat. He's like daring Pam Bondi to come after him. This guy's going to jail. I'm telling you, I just know this guy. They will not delay putting this dude in jail.
Yesterday, I went into a church with Nakima Armstrong, and I protested these white supremacists. The pastor of the church is a fucking...
You know what? I tried to play just a little bit without the. I can't get into. So why is he mad that the guy was there, or why is he? Is he one of the pastors, not the pastor, but one of the pastors is the head of the one of the ICE offices there. Maybe I can play the Fox clip. I'm sorry. I try to get this stuff to you without the language, and I know you're adults, but sometimes we got kids listening. Believe it or not, this program is part of homeschooling. Sometimes parents let their kids listen because it is a current events program. It's faith-based. So I want to make sure there are people listening in areas and places where that they need to have the language needs to be above board. So I do my best with that. I apologize.
The pastors tried to engage in conversation. That wasn't going to take place. But the young lady mentioned that after it all calmed down, after it all settled down, that church and many other people from the area in Minneapolis regathered last night in the church, and they had their worship service.
Well, thank goodness they were able to do that. You know, Pastor, you spoke with a young woman in that church.
Yeah.
Was she scared when that happened?
She was somewhat scared, but she had confidence that the Lord was really going to protect them from violence, and there was just a lot of verbal agitation, verbal accusations, a lot of lies. I mean, you heard Don Lemon spewing a lot of lies, in my opinion. So, yes, there was some fear, but there was a sense of calm because of the way the pastors led and handled it. The pastor.
Thank God. I will tell you this. They picked the right church, because I'm telling you, you try this at my church, not happening. Not happening. There's a security team, and I think churches need to be ready for this. The persecution continues. And I don't think it would have lasted long. We also have law enforcement, active duty, on duty. And I think churches need to look into. I know not every church can probably maybe figure out the budget and the way to do that, but they can be prepared with security in some ways. All right, tomorrow, let's dig deeper into that gold to silver ratio. We're going to have more word, I think, about the Supreme Court ruling. Right now, market's at 1033 on January 20th, a Tuesday, 477, down 477 of the Dow, S&P down 72, NASDAQ down 312. But the Russian 2K is down as well. VIX is up. You know that. What comes from today? We'll have the latest for you tomorrow. Make it a great one, folks. Appreciate you as always. God bless.
I'm Dr. Kirk Elliott, founder of Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. After being in the industry for more than a decade, I knew there was a better way. It's an exciting time to invest in gold and silver with the most significant bull market I've ever seen. But please don't overpay for your stuff. At KEPM, we focus on low-cost bullion only, and we don't charge a commission when you sell. We would love to connect with you, so call our office at 720-605-3900
or go to goldwithjustin.com today. is here. Yeah, they got the big winter sale, the Made in America sale happening at mypillow.com, mypillow.com/Justin. I'm telling you, even the coffee up to 50% off right now when you go to mypillow.com, mypillow.com, mystore.com/Justin. Grab the sheets, the towels, all the things you need to stay cozy during the winter. And of course, maybe now's the time you're starting to think about it. I know we are. Big mattress sales are coming out, President's Day and whatnot. Mike Lindell has great mattresses. In fact, we got to get, it's time, big girl beds for the girls and mattresses that we're taking a look at right now at MyPillow. They've got all kinds of great deals. Maybe it's a mattress topper. They are the most comfortable. You're going to love every single night the best night's sleep with MyPillow. Plus, you support a great guy and a great cause. Mike's running for governor in Minnesota right now. No, he's in the middle of it. He's in the eye of the storm. mypillow.com/Justin, mystore.com/Justin. Help support Mike and this program at the same time today. Well, we had a great conversation with Maha Missy and the update. And if you have missed it, if you haven't a chance to check it out, the latest, it's up everywhere that we podcast and share the show. It's the latest food pyramid, been turned upside down, but also the latest of what's in your water. Boy, we dug into that mystery surprise as we try to get healthier again, make this country healthy again. And I'm trying to get back on track myself. My wife and I starting. You still have time to join us in the next week or so, and we've got a little bit of things we got to do. Go through a church thing. We got to do a couple of days of fasting that we're doing with our church, and then we're getting started. It's probably a good way to jumpstart the program. By the way, our next leg or phase of the program in the My Pure Health Solutions Make America Healthy Again mission that we're on right now with Missy and Charity and the team at My Pure Health Solutions. You can reach out to them today, find out what's involved in the program. You know, I'm already down 30. My wife's down like 23, 25 pounds, feeling better than ever. You call them at 269-964-4044. That's 269-964-4044. Or you can find out all the results from people that they've had the before and after pictures and what exactly we're up to, our good friend Trucker Randy and the rest of the crew. If you go to healthwithjustin.com, that's healthwithjustin.com. Go to healthwithjustin.com to start today so you can get that conversation going and join us in the fight to make America healthy again, starting